Hello everybody and welcome back to Wine Free Wednesday. Yes, this is your midweek moment when we pause, reflect, and I offer you practical, no pressure advice and help to drink less, right? This is for all of you out there who are claiming Wednesday as wine free. Remember, this is not about never drinking again. This is not about alcohol being poison or any of those things. I don't believe any of that kind of lingo helps, but this is out there for people who want to take a break, who want to reduce their consumption, and I am here for you, and I come live every Wednesday at this time. Now today we are talking about such a fun topic. This is about rebellion and when you rebel, and what does that mean and how does that show up? How I normally see this play out is that you decided you're not going to have a drink, or maybe you're just going to have the one, or you've got some idea of some kind of plan in mind, and then you get to the and you're going to be good. That's the other piece of it. We're going to be good. I'm going to be good. I'm going to do it, because a lot of my clients, we're very good in our lives. We're going to do it, but then something happens. It could be something small. You could get cut up in traffic. It could be some pressure at work. It could be you get home and the kids are screaming. It could be anything. Something happens. You get annoyed and you feel kind of like your resistance growing. And then we remember, right? Oh, but we're not doing the drinking thing tonight. Oh, I'm not going to have the wine tonight. And then we kind of get to this screw it moment, or people say F it. I'm going to keep the language clean here. Suddenly you realize that you're tired of following your own rules. And maybe this is just like you've only made this one rule. Maybe it's for today. It's Wine Free Wednesday. It's it's Wednesday. I'm tired. I don't want to do this. And then what happens is we can go from that to suddenly the wine is in our hand, and then we're drinking again. And then the next day it's like, well, what's going on? Why didn't I do this? Right. So I see this play out all the time. I want to offer, now when people tell me this, they say, but Anna, this is terrible. I am out of control. What was happening when I knew what I was going to do? I want to offer, this is not about being out of control. It's not even actually about the wine. It's about rejecting and resisting pressure to perform. And guess who is putting that pressure to perform on you? You, right? Now, maybe your husband or your friends or maybe you've read some guidelines and you think, I'm drinking too much, I really need to do this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the person who decides what they're going to drink and how much they're going to drink and whether they change it is you. Right? So what I see play out is people say, this is what I want to do. And maybe we go to these, maybe you don't just do Wine Free Wednesday, you have some really ambitious target, because I've decided I'm going to do this. I haven't had lots of alcohol-free days for years, but I'm going to do. So we have all this pressure. And what it is we're actually not rebelling against the alcohol. We're rebelling against the piece of ourself that is demanding this of ourselves. Right? I should be able to do this. I should be able to go one night in the week with not having wine. I mean, really, I should be able to. And then it starts to feel another rule. And I want you to think about all the rules and pressure that you have in your life that go all the way up until the end of the day, right? We want to be polite to people. We don't want to scream at people in the office. We maybe need to follow all these different processes, and we have all this stuff going on. And then we get to the end of the day, it's like, for heaven's sake, I'm a grown up. Why am I putting myself through this? This is something I hear from my clients all the time. Why am I putting myself through this discomfort now? Why don't I just have the glass? I mean, I am a grown-up, and then we move into I deserve it territory. But right now I want to talk about that point of rebellion, and maybe you notice this. And it's really just because we are sick and tired of the pressure that we put ourselves under, right? And so when that pressure builds up, that's when the rebel comes out. I had a client tell me, and I've got her quote here. She said, Anna, I wasn't even craving the wine. I just didn't want to feel like I was on a diet again, right? This is it. She didn't even really want the wine, but to her, the wine symbolized some form of release. It symbolized, if I do this, because it's maybe a bit naughty, it's another word to watch out for. It can spark us into motivating ourselves. She just wanted to let loose. She just didn't want the wine, but she wanted the relief from the pressure to perform. If you're seeking relief, The rebel is probably quite strong in you. And again, this comes from performing all day at our jobs, in our families, out in the world. We have all this pressure. And then we said this one area where we actually realize we don't need to perform, and yet we still are, and we're performing for ourselves, for our future version of us, right? The version who doesn't drink every night, but in that moment it feels really difficult. And here's the thing, when you do anything in life, and this particularly, I see this with alcohol, where it feels like restriction, right? So you have to do this, you should be able to do this. Your brain will eventually rebel against this, right? It might be after 2 days, it might be after a week, it might be after 6 months. This is why I see people who go for many, many weeks, months, not drinking, but their brain all the time is resisting it, not liking it. I even had a client once who went a full year alcohol free. And I said, so what happened on the day after the full year? He said, I was back to drinking. Right, that's because it felt, excuse me, resistant the whole time. And this has nothing to do with being weak. This has nothing to do with character flaws. This is just how we are wired. As humans, we are wired to go against discomfort. And so you end up in this pressure loop, and it kind of builds and builds and builds the pressure. And then we say, oh, I just need to have the relief. And then we have the drink. And then we beat ourselves up. And then we feel like we're back at square one. So for anybody who's here on live, and I am quite happy to respond, and I respond to all the comments that anyone puts down afterwards, I want you to think about, where does the rebel for you show up most? I mean, think about this for yourself. Is it around the wine? And if so, at what time? Or do you rebel against it around food? You see this sort of building up as like a pressure cooker during the day at work. Maybe it's biting your tongue to your boss. You know, where would you see, if you gave it a moment's notice, is the rebel, you know, ready to come out and launch? I think that's really important that we see this, because what's happening is, if we're quietly always pushing against our goals, we've kind of got the rebels kind of there, sitting there waiting to launch. As now you're at a weak point, now I want you to do this thing. And what I encourage you, what I want you to think about, is that rebel is just a piece of you. It's a part of you, and the way we talk to them does not have to be through this sort of resistance reactive way of doing it, because otherwise they're always going to be waiting for that weak point. So when you notice the point in the day when you're rebelling most, I want you to ask yourself, really, what am I rebelling against? I mean, really want you to write that question down and spend some time thinking about it. You can jot it down, share it here, or you could message me with your jottings, and I'm very happy to talk through with you what happens there. But here's what I saw when I used to do this for me, what I see actually with a lot of my clients. We're rebelling against the version of ourselves who we feel needs to be good, the version of ourselves who is good, the dependable one, the one who shows up, the one who does all the stuff for the family, the one who has the job, the one who's there to support everybody else, the one who puts themselves last. I see this all the time, especially with really super highly functioning, high performing achievers. We put ourselves last, and when you put yourself last in the queue, you know, this build up of tension and relief that then we see that the wine gives us, it absolutely makes sense. We just want to head that off at the I cannot overstate the importance of looking ahead and just seeing, so which bit of me am I expected to show up in this kind of perfect way, and the pressure that creates for us. Because here's the thing, you actually, once we know this and we work alongside the rebel, it means that we can still have a drink plan, and we can have a plan to change our alcohol consumption that we are going to be in step with, and that we are not going to resist, and that we are not going to fight. Sure, you might not always enjoy it, but there's a difference between always enjoying something and always, you know, doing things from what I really want to do, and really making it hard and fighting yourself. Now, there are lots of really fancy drink planning apps out there, but I think for me, when I do my work with my clients, you just need to know two things when you're planning. You need to know, what are the number of drinks I'm going to plan here, and why? And the why is important. Again, back to the topic here when we're rebelling, because if we say, if this is my purpose, this is why I'm deciding in advance I'm going to have whatever it is, whether it's alcohol-free, 1, 2, whatever the number, right? We want to do that so that we like our reason, and then our rebel gets on side. And then if they've kind of come out for the fight at 6 o'clock. We just want to put them in their box. Look, we agreed. This was something that we figured out beforehand. And do you notice how I'm talking to myself? Right? This is not, we've just got to battle through. This is what we decided. And if you go to you can download I have an app, the Off Switch app's totally free. There's a coaching element in this. This is new. Nobody out there in the market has this. This is going to be a paid feature. I give fair notice, fair warning, but right now it's totally free. It's called Annie. It's Anna Inside. And if you're using the Off Switch app with your drink planning, again, very basic here, just the number of drinks and the why. Annie's going to help you. She'll help you decide your plan, and she'll help you fulfill your plan. And if you are having these rebellious tendencies, at any point in the day, you can go in and talk to her about it, and she will help you. She will coach you through. Annie's been trained on my book, on all my stuff. So that's what I have for you today. And for those of you who are just like, yeah, Anna, I watch this stuff, I'm doing Wine Free Wednesday, and I'm on your list, and I just want to do this, I really encourage and invite you to book a discovery call with me. I work with people for 6 months, and we just completely transform your relationship with alcohol, whatever that means for you. I do not push sobriety. A lot of my clients actually end up saying, well, actually, maybe I am going to maybe sort of be more or less sober, as one of my clients put it, but it's totally up to you what you want. I just help you get there. And one of the most fun elements of that is dealing with your rebel persona when she or he comes out to play. So if you want to do that, I'm going to drop the link below. Otherwise, you can get me on my website, 90dayslater.co. Now, let me see, is anybody watching? Does anybody have any comments, any questions you want me to answer on this? And if you watch this in the replay and you say, hey, I've got a rebel in me and this is how he or she comes out, help me with that. I'd be very happy to talk about that. And also the other thing is, as I come here every week, obviously, and I'm always plucking stuff that come from my coaching practice. These are the issues that I deal with again and again and again. If there's something you'd like me to talk about at one of these sessions, just drop me a line. You can send me a message or just drop a comment below, and I'm quite happy to prepare content according to what you want to hear, because this is all about just taking a pause midweek, anointing this day, Wine Free Wednesday, and just following through on that, and then learning. And the more we do this, I've been doing this, I think now, these sessions for just over 2 months. I want you to imagine if you had committed or have been committing, and you've been doing a Wine Free Wednesday for each, just because, right, we work on this together. You will already then have had 8, 9, depending on how many of these sessions we've got here, 8 or 9 Wednesdays when you're alcohol free. And then as we build this up, it's not just the act of doing, but it's what that means. And your brain will start to notice. Your brain will start to think Wednesdays are wine free. Your brain will start to accept it. And then the more acceptance we have there, can you see that this feels less of a push? There's going to be less resistance, and you certainly won't feel rebellious at the idea of taking a day off in the week. And then from there, if you want more, if you're like, yeah, I can do Wednesday, I'd like to do this and I'd like to do that, that's when we start to see possibility. That's when we start to operate from belief. And that's when it becomes so much fun. I always say this is not really just about reducing how much you drink or getting control over it. Of course, that's where we start. That's the main thing. This is about the space you create in your life. And it's not just drinking time we're talking about here, and it's not just hangover recovery time that we would then avoid. This is about all the time and the negotiation we have in our brain. Am I going to drink tonight? Am I not? Is that, what am I going to do? When I said I wasn't going to, should I buy them? It's going to be enough. All of this. And if you're a daily drinker, or even if you just think you drink a little bit too much, you can be very familiar with this. And the most fun is when I'm working with my clients who say all of a sudden their lives open up. And it's not because they vastly changed their schedule. It is simply because we have relegated the level of importance that alcohol has in their life. And these are people who continue to maybe drink. It's totally fine. There's a big difference between drinking occasionally and kind of take it or leave it manner, and drinking because you feel you have to. And it will absolutely blow your socks off. This will change your life. It does for so many of my clients, and I'm very happy. Yes, hearts, yes. This is why we do this, right? This is not about being tough and being good. This is about what do we want? I just want you to imagine, play with that. What would you do if you just didn't have this nightly negotiation? I'm working with one of my clients right now, and she is literally, we are going through, she wants to change job and she wants to set up a business, and so she has all this time. And this was never on the cards, but now it's on the cards because she doesn't feel she's so handcuffed to the wine. All right, that's me going on. I'm at time here, so thank you for watching, and for those who are live, and then anyone who watches in replay. And I will see you next week for the next Wine Free Wednesday. Thanks. Bye bye.